I am indeed a hypocrite. Hello everyone, my name is Dark and welcome back to another SH Figuarts review. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the one and only King Cold from the Frieza family. Yes, I know what you guys are going to say. When this guy was announced, I mentioned to not get him because it was a waste of money. I get that, but I wanted him. I really did want him, especially since I did have the Mecha Frieza in the back of my hand. So this guy is gonna go perfectly with him. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and see how he looks. Alright, so here we have King Cold himself, and I gotta say, he is quite big, because holy shit, realistically, he is big. So this guy stands at a whopping 9.5 inches, all the way from his foot to his horn. If you wanted to know what the centimeters for that is, it's around 24 and a half centimeters. That is an insanely big figure. Just to give you a size comparison, here I have full power Super Saiyan Broly and Orange Piccolo. My god, is he big. Look at that, he's bigger than Broly. That is insane. So you'll see in pictures towards the end of the video how he compares to Mecha Frieza, because Mecha Frieza is already a pretty tiny figure, so this guy is just gonna tower over him. So yeah, this guy is absolutely insane. He is pretty well detailed out, really. He's pure plastic, by the way. Like, there's probably some paint stuff here and there, like the cape and whatnot, but besides that, everything is just pure plastic. Which sucks because this is a premium Bandai release, so he's already not hitting the mark as full power Frieza. So yeah, this guy was already expensive and he looks like plastic. He looks shiny all over, which is not good. Now, he does look really nice. Now, I don't know, are his feet supposed to be like that? Wait. They are. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I was like, wait, are his feet supposed to be the other way or what? No, his inner toe is supposed to be the smallest one. So, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know what else to talk about for this guy. In terms of aesthetic, he looks like King Cold. The one thing that really does annoy me is the way that they did the cape. So, you have to build him up whenever you actually get him out of the box. The box is absolutely huge. You guys already saw that. But he has a section here where you have to attach it to his back. So you can't attach it to the hinges on here. There's no hinges whatsoever. This section is not movable at all. But this, the main cape, has hinges, and you have to attach it separately to his back. So, if I can show this real quick, you have to attach it to the back. What is this? Why? I understand that there's a lot more balance with it, and I forgot his tail. I forgot about that. Wait, give me a minute. Alright, there we go. He looks more complete now. The tail itself actually looks really nice. The actual pinks that they're supposed to be don't actually match. So this is pure pink plastic. This is painted pink. It's like a slight difference. You can't really tell them apart, which is fine. I don't really care too much about that. But yeah, honestly, pretty bad tail, not gonna lie, because there is like no hinge whatsoever here. It is a completely fixed tail going downward, so you just have that L shape, upside down L shape to help you out, and you can move it every here and there. There's only 2 different sections where you can move it, which is very similar to the Final Form cooler. And that's fine. I don't really care too much about that. you're never really gonna see the tail whatsoever, so it's fine. But yeah, like realistically, he looks pretty nice. He looks pretty darn cool for a figure his size. He barely fits in my actual like recording setup. It's just he's quite heavy, so you might want to use his tail to kind of balance him out a little bit from time to time. So yeah, like realistically, his armor is nice and shiny. His trunkses are pretty nice. There are like the 2.0 model stuff where these have that for some reason, so that kind of sucks. I don't know what else to talk about this figure, because while I did want him, he was one of my more I don't know. I really don't know. I'm so far into the video already. Articulation. So in terms of articulation, let's get a closer look. So for the head, you can look down about that far. You're gonna get a gap on the neck right here, as you can see. Looking up, also a gap on the neck, similar to Full Power Frieza, which I had no issue, so I have no issue with it here. I'm not gonna contradict myself a lot in this video, because I already did by purchasing this thing, which was very expensive. So he can swivel side to side a little bit, not too much. His faceplate is wanting to fall off because I turned it to the side a little bit too much. So there's that. The horns don't move, which is understandable. Now, they went back and did pretty much the worst hinges, or the worst flaps on these shoulder pads, where they just go up like that. They have a hinge in the middle where they just go up, instead of having a ball peg on the back where they can just freely move around. But this does give you pretty good range in terms of articulation. You can bring up his arms about that far. You can hit that T-pose for sure. And then you could probably get him to do a 360 rotation, but I'm not going to do that. Now, bringing down the flaps, you can also, putting them back up, you can also get a decent amount of articulation with this guy in terms of the butterfly joint. So the butterfly joint, you kind of have to push it out or pull it out a little bit to get the best range possible. So you could get his arms crossed together if you wanted to. So there is that. Like, you'll see that it's still fleshy tone, which is nice. I like that. Now, this guy has a lot going for him because he is a very interesting design, really. He's royalty, so he has to have a cape and everything. Biceps, you have your bicep swivel. It's not like the Full Power Broly, where there is a limit as to how much you're gonna use that bicep, or how much you can use that bicep. He does have a double jointed elbow, which mine has some blemishes of dirt and grime somewhere on there. Thank you, Premium Bandai. His actual forearm is rotated, so you can rotate. That's actually really nice, because it starts out like this, and then with that you can barely get that much range. But if you move this, then you can get the best range out of that elbow, which is really nice. I like that. Really nice how they thought about that. Hopefully, I wish they thought about that for Frieza, but they did not. But this one is a bigger figure, so it makes sense. Of course, you have your ball hinge for the actual arms, which is understandable. For the torso itself, he can look down about that far, which is actually pretty good, and look up about that far with pretty much everything blocking him. There's barely any gaps, which is great. He can move side to side if you wanted to. This is a very interesting figure to hold because he is huge. He is much bigger than the Broly, and I'm not used to that. But yeah, for the splits, he can pretty much get a decent amount of split, which is awesome. Again, these pieces are gonna get scratched. Oh wait, is there detail on them, or is that just the seam lines? That's just the seam lines. Oh, whoa. Okay, they did not cut them correctly, I guess. Yeah. Get this camera focus. For the kicking motion, you can kick about this far, which is going to give you a little bit of 90 degrees on there. You can definitely push it further, but it's going to rotate the actual leg. And then kicking backwards about that far by rotating the leg pretty much sideways. So you have your thigh sole, which is pretty nice. Your double jointed knee, which is a shinier plastic for some reason. And they also have the feet, the freeze-off feet, where you can put them down this far and then up that far, which is nice. He's actually pretty standard. I thought there was going to be a couple more limitations because of how big he was going to be, but no, he actually could probably get into the same poses as any previous Frieza that has been released, which is really nice. So without further ado, let's move on to the accessories, because this guy actually has a decent amount, but probably not enough. So let's go on to that. Okay, so I wanted to start off with the main accessory. At least that's what Bandai and Tamashii wanted to sell out of this. And that is King Cold in his seat. His throne, his chair. That was the main appeal of just making this figure. Throwing in a chunk of plastic to bring it up to $150. This is not good. I hate this. It's annoying to actually function. Now, this cape, in my opinion, the cape is the single worst thing that they have done with with a guy like this. It should have been a cloth cape. With the amount of money that you're already making this figure be, just fucking throw in a fucking cloth cape or a fabric cape, a soft good, please, Bandai. Holy shit. Not everything has to be plastic. You guys have shown that you can do it. You did it with fucking a $65 figure with Gohan there. And you guys can't do it with a premium fucking release? I don't get it. Like, I actually don't fucking get it. You guys did it with Pain. That was a premium release, right? Pain from Naruto. But they can't fucking do it with King Cold? Now, I will say, he looks fine on the actual throne. But this is what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get him sitting completely straight back, actually hitting the entire back, because the fucking tail. Right there. There's no space for it. There's like no mold section for it to go through. Nothing. Now, here's how it works. So, the actual chair is already draped in with the cape. So, you won't get a regular cape. So, you have to have the piece. So, it's going to be for King Cold only, pretty much. But here's the actual cape part. It is half a cape with an indent for this thing, which already makes no sense whatsoever. So you just have to make sure that these pieces right here on the sides fit the actual armrests. So when you actually have it sit him down, he actually has to be slanted in that pose where he has the hand going, like, hitting him. So you can't have him sitting straight. Otherwise, the cape won't work. Now, the cape doesn't sit snug either, so that is an annoyance there. So, yeah, this guy already just not a good... He's a decent figure. But the main appeal that they sold him for is not good whatsoever. So, yeah, the main accessory, absolute garbage. Alright, so after looking at that disaster of a fucking chair, we have even more questionable decisions, which I don't know what the fuck Tamashii Nations is doing at this point, really, with figures like this. They just announced a Monster Sarbon, which I am going to get because it's Monster Sarbon. There's no figure that has ever been created that represents that guy, so of course I have to get him. But you see the outlier on the actual screen. You see it. There's another cranium piece. Why? I don't fucking know at this point. Let me show you. So if I decapitate King Cole's head, which is on a on a ball hinge, by the way, not a double ball peg. So you see, so this is a regular face. This is a smirking face that he comes with out of the package. Now, you can kind of see some of the differences already on the actual screen. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. That's fine. They're the exact fucking same. They're the same. There's like barely any like visual difference between the two. So the one thing that is different is the peg holes. What the fuck is this? Why? So here's the kicker. 2 faceplates that he comes with go on the base head sculpt. 2 of them. They have 2 regular holes in an entrance, a rectangle entrance, and 2 full holes. The other 2 faceplates have half a hole and a weird rectangle faceplate or entrance. Why? Why? Like I don't get it. I actually don't get it. There's like 0 difference between the two. Like this is just printing plastic for the sake of printing plastic. There is no reason as to why these could not have been the same pieces. Now, could it be that the actual like motion or the way that these things were printed were not going to be all the way reachable to the actual regular faceplate? No. It's just they didn't fucking think about it for some reason. Now, there is so you guys see right here in the original one that he comes with right off the box, he has a circle right here. This one is supposed to have a square, but it doesn't. Because if we look at the faceplates, one has a circle, the other one has a square. So they can't even get their own shit right. So, yeah. Looking at the faceplates, we have his original faceplate where he's just smirking, a smiling faceplate, which is nice, a shouting faceplate, and a grunting faceplate, which is standard for any fucking Dragon Ball figure at this point. Then we have his comically large trunk sword that he was able to grow out of his fucking ass. We have a thigh grabbing hand and a head grabbing hand. 2 key blast shooting hands and 2 hands to use the fucking sword. And the worst fucking shit ever. Bicep foldable arms instead of fucking shoulder foldable arms. Can you guys tell I don't like this figure? Can you guys tell? Final thoughts. It's garbage. I said it was going to be garbage, and it is garbage. I'm not going to hold that down. I'm not going to say like, oh, this shit is the best. No. It was $178 fucking dollars. 178 for not a painted product, barely painted, horribly articulated. Granted, it's the regular articulation that any fucking figure has nowadays, but $178? Really? That's nothing. That's fucking insane. There are so many fucking inconsistencies with this figure itself, like you can even see them. The cape not being cloth, that's the biggest offender right there. 2 head sculpts? Why the fuck would I want to switch a head sculpt every single time? If it was a head sculpt where it was like the face and the actual cranium every single time for all faces, sure, do it like Frieza. But it's not. So what the fuck? Now, if you got this guy, hopefully you enjoy him. Because for me, he's just going to go on my shelf next to Mecha Frieza, and that's it. I'm never touching this guy again. And this guy is just going to be sitting there collecting dust and be part of my Dragon Ball Z collection. Overall, I'm giving this guy it's actually worthless. Like, this is a nothing release. Like, this guy doesn't do anything to improve on anything previous. Well, I would say the release before this one, which was Full Power Frieza, actually was a lot better than this guy, and he was half the price. Half the price. You guys already know that I don't like the foldable arms that are connected to the biceps. I think that's stupid. They did it great with the fucking 24,000 power level Vegeta, where it was at the shoulders instead of the bicep, which is much easier to actually stay put. But this guy, they can't do that for a $178 figure after shipping and taxes. That's disgraceful. I know this is a long review, and that's fine. I don't give a shit. This is a long review for the sake of being a long review at this point. But this is like probably one of the worst releases they have done. There's no double ball peg. There's a lot of gaps that I don't really care, but I know people will care about. The hinges on the fucking shoulder pads. It's weird because there is an excess amount of grayish paint on them. Also, the paint job is actually kind of sloppy on mine, so just from looking at it, the chest, the flesh part of his chest still has some blue from the plastic. So the gray didn't fully cover it, or the actual flesh tone didn't cover it. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of bad things about this figure. Very little good things. But there's so many questionable things about it. And I don't care for them. It's bad. You guys already know it's bad. So, hopefully, when they do a special edition King Cold for some reason, he is better. Although he won't be. So, if you missed out on this guy, honestly, good that you missed out on him. He's not worth it at all whatsoever. He was on a shorter time frame in terms of pre-orders than Full Power Frieza. Full Power Frieza did not sell out in 5 months. And then when this guy went up in pre-order, he did not sell out whatsoever, by the way. So, yeah. This is probably one of the worst releases they've done this year. And one of my worst purchases for sure, because I've been giving a lot of good scores lately. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think. That is all the time I have for you guys today. So, down in the comments, let me know how wrong I am. Let me know how right I am, and let me know what you think about this figure. But I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.